Oh, belum. Aku buka dulu. Oh, dari YouTube ya jadinya? Tapi nggak bagus. Dulu ya Pak ya.
Bang, aku bisa menunjukkan suara di sini. Aku matikan. Kamu bisa kok? Iya. Udah, tak apa-apa ya. Nah, ini dia, Pak Benni.
So ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start our conference today. I hope all of you being standby.
Waduh.
I hope all of you being standby.
Kacau, lambat koneksi.
Oke, udah bisa Pak.
Tadi dulu, lambat koneksi kalau pakai.
Assalamualaikum. Pak Dian, gimana? Ada dengar suara saya Pak?
Sangat dengar sekali. Oke, bagus. Pak Marzuki dengar suaranya?
Iya, dengar Pak. Kalau tadi mute ya.
Bagus.
Ya, baik.
Koneksi bagus.
Oke, baik.
Saya nggak bisa. Oh, bisa share screen. Nggak bisa share screen.
Bentar, Dian, kok jadi kan aku host?
Host disable.
So ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start our conference, but wait for 2 or 3 minutes. There is still technical error.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Yes, this one is clear.
Ada.
Okay, thank you.
Ada loh.
Saya ini mana Pak Benni? Iya. Saya mau membuat momen share lagu.
Belum juga. Iya.
Coba cek dulu Pak Mesra, saya sendiri bisa.
Bisa, udah masuk. Udah.
Saya.
Udah.
Sebentar ya. Kasih suaraku Pak Benni. Pak Dian. Pak Zubir. Lalu
Pak Juki doa.
Udah bisa, Pak?
Oke, bisa.
Oke Pak, bentar ya Pak.
Ya.
Analis sudah di. Oke, silakan.
Prof Mayudin udah gabung?
Mayudin udah Mas. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us start our Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our event today. The third Ichsanda National Conference on Advanced and Scientific Education. Today's conference is the third of Ichsanda. The first was held in 2018, and the second was handled last year, 2019, and today is the third. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start our event, firstly, let us deliver our gratitude to Almighty God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, for His blessing and guidance, so we can gather here in very bright day. We are live here from Medan, from Garuda Plaza Hotel, from Medan, Indonesia. The Honorable, the head of FKPT, Forum of Higher Education Cooperation, Mr. Mesran Mkom. The Honorable, the head of committee, Mr. Robi Rahim Mkom. The Honorable, all of our keynote speakers for today. There are three keynote speakers. We invite special first Professor Mayudin Nasution, MIT PhD from University of North Sumatra, Medan, Indonesia. Welcome, Prof. Mayudin. Honorable Dr. Tanawit Bunsit from Sassin University, Songkhla, Thailand. Welcome, Dr. Tanawit.
Hello.
The Honorable Asok Professor Dr. Syahrul Nizam bin Yaakob from University Malaysia Perlis. Welcome, Prof. Syahrul. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, let us stand up. All of us, please be stand up for singing national anthem of Republic of Indonesia.
Okay. Dengar.
saya tak dengar apa. Halo, tak dengar apa.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You all may be seated. Next, ladies and gentlemen, in order to get blessed from the Almighty God Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, before we start our agenda, let us firstly send our prayer to God, and the recitation of dua will be led by Mr. Marzuki bin Sepiaail from Politeknik Sultan Diansyah, Perak, Malaysia. Next, Mr. Marzuki, in order to get blessed from the
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahilladzi bi ni'matihi tatimmus shalihat. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulina al-amin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma ya karim ya aziz, sesungguhnya kami menadah tangan menzahirkan rasa kesyukuran atas iradat dan kudratmu yang telah menentukan dan mengizinkan kami untuk berhimpun pada pagi yang berbahagia ini di dalam majlis pembukaan Third International Conference on Advanced and Scientific Innovation 2020. Ya Allah ya Munzil Rahman wa ya Fadhil Barakah, berkatilah dan permudahkanlah perjalanan seminar ini. Jadikanlah ia seumpama sebuah taman di antara taman-taman syurga. Berikanlah peluang bagi kami untuk bertukar idea, ilmu dan pandangan dalam mewujudkan budaya penyelidikan yang menyumbang ke arah pembentukan pusat pendidikan dan penyelidikan. Dan jadikanlah seminar ini sebagai pencetus inovasi, isu-isu dan cabaran ke arah kemakanan pendidikan. Ya Allah ya Muhaimin ya Aziz ya Jabbar, jadikanlah kami orang-orang yang mendengar kebaikan lantas bersegera melakukan kebaikan.
Testing 1 2 3. Anyone
Orang
hear
yang
me?
mendengar dan mengetahui keburukan lantas bersegera meninggalkan keburukan. Kami memohon kekuatan dari kudrat-Mu ya Allah, supaya kami yang hadir pada hari ini agar kami dapat melaksanakan segala kebaikan, dan kami mohon perlindungan dari Engkau dari melakukan keburukan. Allahumma ya qadil hajat wa rafi'ad darajat.
Testing 1 2
Ya Allah,
3. Anyone hear
telah
me?
beri kami kekayaan ilmu pengetahuan, dan hiasilah diri kami dengan sifat lemah lembut, dan muliakanlah kami dengan ketakwaan, dan indahkanlah kami dengan kesehatan. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil
Testing
alamin.
1 2 3.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Mr. Marzuki for the recitation of dua. Ladies and gentlemen, let us listen to the report of head of committee of our event today that will be delivered by Mr. Robi Rahim Enkom. The head of committee, Mr. Robi Rahim, please.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, In this very special occasion, it's the great honor to me to be here in front of such amazing speaker and audience. Thank you. To report the importance of our conference today, the third Ichsanda. With full respect, the head of Forum Higher Education Communication, Mr. Mesran, and the Honorable All Speaker. First is Prof. Mayudin from University of North Sumatra. And the music for occasion is the Sini University, Thailand. The third one is Prof. Dr. Sharul Nizam bin Yaakob from Malaysia. With full respect, the head of Indian Education. So today, firstly, our greatest attitude to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala for His blessing and guidance, so we can online here in very special day, the third Ichsanda. And the ladies and gentlemen, let me deliver big admiration to the three of our speakers today. And thank you, Prof. and Dr. Your ideas and thought will be very useful for us in powering our global society. Ladies and gentlemen, Ichsanda has been run twice in 2016, and all publications are already published in IOP, Journal of Disciplinary Series, and some of journal papers. So today is the third event of Ichsanda will be published in IOP Journal of Physics of the Conference Series. There are totally 678 series and paper presented from University of Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, India, Japan, and Taiwan. And the output of the event will be IOP proceedings, index with scopus, and our abstract totally received almost 131 and accept at least 70, and almost 15% rejection. Thank you for our authors and presenters who have served their consideration and reflection related to global innovation and advanced science. And lastly, thank you for our committee who have assisted our conference today. And ladies and gentlemen, that was all my report. Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
for your report. Next, welcoming speech by the partner of faculty from Politeknik Sultan Azlan Malaysia, Mr. Muhammad Zubir bin Muhammad Hanifah. To Mr. Muhammad Zubir bin Muhammad Hanifah, please. For your report. Next, welcoming speech by the partner of faculty from Politeknik Sultan Azlan Malaysia, Mr. Muhammad Zubir bin Muhammad Hanifah. To Mr. Muhammad Zubir bin Muhammad Hanifah, please. Next, welcoming speech by the partner of faculty from Mr. Muhammad Zubir, we would like to invite you to give your speech, your welcoming speech. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Okay. Aspect. Let us all recite prayer and greeting to Allah most beloved, our Prophet Muhammad. May we who we present to be faithfully flowers of his sunnah. Ichsanda is a continuation of previously held similar activities and is a collaboration of FKPT, Indonesian colleges and universities of Malaysia. I personally would like to thank the active role of Mr. Supriyanto, Mr. Mesran, and all the PKFP managers, Ustaz Marzuki bin Sepiaail from Politeknik Sultan Azlan Shah, Perak, Malaysia, and other friends who were the catalysts of the international conference. I understand that this collaboration had already begun in 2017 with the implementation of our first conference in Medan in 2000. We work on the Asia Pacific basis. I hope one day we will be gather all that collaboration. Hopefully this collaboration will also be active effort on the university to support all of us in the face of the Asian Economic Committee. Thus, ICASI 3 activity are expected to provide constructive input for policymakers in Indonesia and other Asian countries. Fighting pressure all the international innovation and a series of supporting activities. May we do today be of may what we do today be of the benefit to all of us. Have a nice discussion. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Zubir bin Muhammad Hanifah, for the welcoming speech. Ladies and gentlemen, next, let us invite the head of FKPT, who will officially open the conference today. Let us welcome Mr. Mesran from MCOM. So, Mr. Mesran, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this very special day, it's a great pride for me to stand here in front of such an amazing speaker and audience to open the implementation of our conference today, ICSI 3. Then, the Honorable, our keynote speaker, first, Prof. Mahyudin KM Nasution, MIT, PhD, from University of North Sumatra, Indonesia.
From the three of our keynote speakers. The first keynote speaker will be Professor Dr. Shahrul Nizam bin Yaakob from University Malaysia Perlis. The second will be Dr. Sana University Thailand, and third will be Professor Mahyudin Indonesia. For the questions, the presentations from Dr. Shahrul Nizam bin Yaakob of Australia, UNISA, 2010, for his PhD, majoring in computer system engineering. Then he also finished his Magister of Science, majoring in computer engineering from University Malaysia Perlis, UNIMAP, in 2016. Then, on 2004, he finished his Bachelor of Engineering, majoring in Electronic. Meanwhile, for his current position, he is Ketua Bahagian Pembangunan dan Analitik Pusat Pembangunan Digital Unimap since 2020 until next year 2021. Also a Timbalan Pengarah Unit Pembangunan Akademik dan Lestari since 2019 until 2021. Is also a Timbalan Pengarah Unit Pembangunan Akademik dan Lestari. He was also a Timbalan Pengarah Unit Pembangunan Akademik dan Lestari in 2017 until 2019. He was also ever been a Timbalan Dekan Akademik dan Penyelidikan bagi PPK Komputer dan Perhubungan Sesi since 2015 until 2017, and many others administrations positions that I cannot read one by one. So that is about curriculum vitae of our first speaker, Professor Dr. Shahrul Nizam bin Yaakob. So to Dr. Shahrul Nizam bin Yaakob, you may present your presentation. Start by now, please. Mr. Charul, you may start now.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You may start.
Is it okay?
Okay.
Alright. So,
Yes. Okay.
so for today, I'm gonna present to all of us to share some of my thought on this field, and the titles here is about, I call it artificial intelligence. It's a brief review on the learning algorithm. Well, it's a quite very general a little bit on the title, but let's have some sharing here. Anyway, so what I'm going to do, the content of my presentations, I'll start by first take a look at the definitions. And then after that, we try to look at some of the history about the learning algorithm within the fields of artificial intelligence. And after that, the final part will be some related issue. All right? Not that much actually. Anyway. So there are several algorithms in the fields of AI. For instance, soft computing. You can find it. This is some of the. Can everyone hear me? Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
This one is very clear.
Okay. Now, for the soft computing, the definition given is like the use of inexact solution to computational hard tasks for which there is no known algorithm that can compute an exact solution in polynomial time. Wow. But let's take a look at other terms. Or sometimes we heard about the word machine learning, isn't it? Which is scientific study of algorithms and statistical models that computer system use to effectively perform a specific task without using explicit instruction, relying on patterns and inference instead. Another. But if you take a look at the whole sentence, I tried to highlight the blue color, some meaningful words. But anyway, we're going to take a look at after this. The next word that normally people use to describe these learning algorithms and AIs are such field, which is a computational intelligence. By definitions, it means the ability of computer to learn a specific task from the data or experimental observation. Actually, I prefer this word, actually, computational intelligence. It's very concise and the definition is there, rather than the long word to describe everything altogether. But anyway, it depends. Sometimes people prefer to use the long word to describe things, but for me, I prefer a simple word to describe everything. And right, and the artificial intelligence itself, definitions given is any device that perceive its environment and take action that maximize its chance of successfully achieving its goal. Well, maybe some of you have more experience than me in this field, but since when I was first introduced these fields, the AI fields back then in 1999, like 21 years ago, the first word come to my exposed me the word with artificial intelligence back then in 1999 when I was in undergraduate back then. After that, the word keeps on coming. But in general, we still can understand what are they trying to give to us. Let's take a look at what happened. So, because of many words and definitions given, I come up with my own actually. So what happened is, I try to combine machine learning and then the computational intelligence and soft computing. And then why not? They come up the word like this, soft computational, soft machine intelligence, isn't it? But it depends, it's just my thought actually. I combine all together. And then the definition I come about myself. Actually, I introduced myself, which is scientific study of algorithms and statistical models that make a computer system to learn a specific task from data or experimental observations without using explicit instruction, but relying on patterns and inference instead. But what happened here actually, I combine everything and become one. But anyway, we can accept it or not. The most important thing here is when we talk about AI, the first thing comes to our mind is that it's about algorithms, programming algorithms that makes our system capable of solving a problem, and without using a specific one equation rather than one equation. And important thing is relying on patterns and inference. Wow, a lot of definitions and words here. But I hope that everyone here can grasp the things that I like to share. That one day, who knows, another person will come about a new definitions. But the thing is, the core of the whole word is actually still remain. Right. So we can say that if we have a set of artificial intelligence here, we can have fuzzy logic, soft computation machine learning, whatever you call it, or evolutionary methods and others. And we also need to concern about the input and output, and the rest of it we call it artificial intelligence. As long as we use the algorithm to achieve whatever goals that we set. But don't worry, my slide is quite, at the moment, is quite very general. Now, before I go further, let's take a look at some of the history. I tried to pick some important finding, the history of the finding, rather than go everything. So maybe some of you interest in some specific methods, but I will not mention here. It's okay, don't be bothered, right? Okay, let's take a look at some of the history that I picked up from the literature. Okay, the first one, as far as we try to find when actually humans start to think about this algorithm and AI actually. Now, the furthest that I can find is back in 1913, where Mr. Bertrand Russell and Alfred North Whitehead, they come about with formology back in 1913. These two guys, and during the World War II, 1943, Warren Sergis McCulloch and Walter Pitts, they laying foundation for artificial neural network, which nowadays a lot of people use it. During this 1943, if you take a look at the time there, it's about a World War II. And what happened actually during this time, there are two groups actually working. The first group is actually working on the microprocessor, and the other group is actually working, we call it A and N, and coming automations, computing automations. For instance, during this war, when there's artillery, they want to fire to the enemy, they have to calculate so many input or parameters. So they need to, they want to invent uh, machine that can calculate for them. So this is one of the reasons why they have a computer, which is, for example, laptop that we are using right now. And the other fields is the artificial neural networks. That's 1943 like that. And then at the same time, 1943, theory of games and economic behavior by mathematician John von Neumann and Oscar Morgenstern. Now, just to add for all of us, that John von Neumann actually, in physics, people call John von Neumann is a father of modern computer processor. Why he is the first person actually who come about. If you know about how to design a processor, we use a finite state machine, remember? Now this finite state machine is important when we want to design a CPU, control processing unit of a processor. So John von Neumann is the first one who come the idea of a finite state machine. Actually, it was used in a nuclear bomb, actually, that bombed the Japan. But anyway, and then 1950, Alan Turing come up with introduced the Turing test to measure of machine intelligence. And after that, Marvin Minsky, temporal difference learning, which is the early versions of reinforcement learning. I don't know, maybe today someone will be presenting regarding the reinforcement learning, maybe. And then in 1959, John McCarthy and Marvin Minsky, they founded the MIT AI lab, which is a long time ago, isn't it? 1959. And after that, in 1957, Richard E. Bellman published a Markovian decision process. Nowadays, a lot of people also, I believe, using Markovian decision process, maybe. And then, 1960, John Hall, the first one who introducing the genetic algorithms especially for optimization, isn't it, nowadays used. And then 1963, John H. Howard Jr. introducing the hierarchical clustering. During my PhD time, I used some of the features of hierarchical clustering in order to in order for me to come up with a new, not actually new, I enhanced some of the algorithms. I combined several algorithms, including the clustering, hierarchical clustering techniques. And then in 1963, support vector machine algorithm was invented by these two persons, Vladimir and Alexei. I believe this sounds like Eastern Europe, isn't it? And then, of course, 1965, fuzzy logic proposed by the late Lutfi Zadeh. He's from Iran. And he's passed away, I believe, just recent years, I think like 2 years, just the late 2 years, I believe. And in 1985, the Bayesian network by the Judy Pearl, and colony algorithms by Marco Dorigo. And actually, he's writing during his PhD thesis. And nowadays, I've seen a lot of papers or writings that use or perhaps further enhance this algorithm. And of course, the famous K-nearest neighbor algorithm by Madam Naomi Altman. And 1995, particle swarm optimization by these three persons, James Kennedy, Russell E. Hilbert, and G. Anyway, if you take a look at all the histories way back then, and during the 60s, 70s, especially 70 and 80, there's a lot of contribution that kick off this contribution toward the AI, especially because the computer technology is increased and the computational power also increased. Therefore, people can start write more complex algorithms, isn't it? And we are very thankful to all these persons. And hopefully one day, who knows, I can add more timeline there, maybe some good technique from Indonesia or perhaps any country, especially in Southeast Asia, isn't it? Who knows? Hopefully. Or maybe one day our grandchild, can code one of our name, maybe someone from Southeast Asian, especially Indonesians, hopefully, isn't it? Anyway, all right. So what is the issues that I like to just sharing in this morning? The first one is online learning capability. Now, don't worry, I will try to explain and some of the commercializations issue. And last but not least, after that, we're gonna take a look at the new trend. Some of the new trend involving in the AI field, from my perspective, it's maybe correct, and some of you maybe agree, and some of you maybe disagree, but it's okay. It's a sharing session, isn't it? Right. The first one is about online learning capability. Now we know that most AI algorithm can learn the input, but what I mean by online learning, the word online learning. Now, by definition, what does online learning means? Once the input pattern data is used, that input or pattern will never use or never need it again anymore. That's what it means. Online learning. Now we know that there's a lot of algorithm in AI field that can be used to learn the input, but the problem is, it's a batch learning. Well, I'll go through to that. I'll go to that. And the online learning capability, we can take based on the algorithm. I try to divide the algorithm based on sequential learning algorithm like reinforcement learning, radial based learning neural network, some of it actually, and spiking neural and several others, right? And the other is called non-sequential learning algorithm like support Bayesian network or fuzzy neural network. Now, what is true sequential learning algorithm or non-sequential learning algorithm? Now, sequential learning algorithm means that if you have an input of T, whatever the output produced by the T, during the process of calculation of this input T, we have to look at the previous input. It's always related to the previous input. So that means sequential learning. And for the non-sequential learning means that the current input calculation does not have direct calculation of the previous input. Alright? So that's what I try to share with you here, the difference between sequential learning algorithm and non-sequential learning algorithm. Right? The sequential means that the current input calculation must involve directly with the previous input, while the non-sequential learning algorithm means that the current input pattern calculation does not involve directly to the previous input pattern, right? So I hope you can grasp the idea what's the difference sequential learning and algorithm. So sequential learning and non-sequential learning. So online learning capability normally is as an issue of in the non-sequential learning algorithm. Now, with the sequential learning algorithm, for example, like reinforcement learning, if you have experience using reinforcement learning, it's not a problem because the mechanism of the whole algorithm itself is always what they call learning process, even though it's in testing phase. But for non-sequential learning algorithm, there's an issue here, especially for those who have experience using, I believe all of you maybe perhaps using it multi-layer perceptron-based neural network, whereas you have to learn the input pattern first in batch. That's the problem. Anyway, we're gonna take a look at these issues in detail further. Okay. Normally, as I mentioned previously, that online learning capability is an issue for non-sequential learning algorithm. So what does it mean? Now, for example, if you are using a multi-layer based perceptron type of neural network, there are many of them. So I just group it as an MLP based neural network. Alright. Now, normally you have offline mode, where what happens is that you have a training phase where there's many epoch, depends on your technique. Right? So you train it first, and then you test, so that you try to make sure that your input maybe up to 99% is being remembered by the algorithm. Then you stop, isn't it? That's what happened. So normally 99.9%, then you stop the training for that neural network, MLP based especially. And then after that, during the online mode, then you can test it. This is what happened during the for the non-sequential learning algorithm. Okay. Now what happened is that if you, let's say the system, if you want to introduce again a new input, therefore you have to go back to the offline learning and you have to extract the previous input pattern and then retrain together in order to get the network or the system ready. So that's what happened for online learning. Sorry, for this non. come with understanding of input characteristic, more understanding of the input characteristic. And of course, it reduced time for online mode for training. Right? So that is the first problem, right? So the first issues that I tried talk about. And the second one is a black box. Right? Now, what do I mean by black box? Some people already knew, some of you maybe don't know, perhaps. Now, what is the black box? Black box, because when I look at again some of the recent papers, they start to forget about this issue. What is the black box? Why is that the black box actually? Before we go to the black box, normally in the black box we talk about white box or black box. We talk about why such algorithm, including the structure provided, can produce an output for a given input. Right? And so in the black box problem, normally we talk about why multi-layer perceptron, for example, I use the old technique actually, produce a given output provided by the input. Normally, even the researcher can't give exact words or explain proper explanations to the related people. So, because MLP, for example, MLP here, neural network is a black box in the sense that while it can approximately any function, studying its structure won't give you any insight on the structure of the function being approximate. Well, that's a tough word actually used. Anyway, what does that mean is we cannot explain exactly why a neural networks or any AI actually provide or given an output providing an input. Now, some of you say, we can explain why MLP is because the bias, the weight and everything, the activation function and so on and so forth. But that is not the direct explanation. What the people are doing then is indirect explanations. There's no direct explanations. Right? So that is what meaning by black box. Right? So same goes to rule extraction. That's why if you, maybe some of you already knew, people start to research on rule extraction in the AI techniques, where the algorithm can extract rules. But still a problem. Why? Because people, when you come about can extract the rule from the algorithm, then the question goes, why you can extract the rule from the algorithm? Right? So still a problem, this black box issue. But because of, I don't know, based on my finding, there's still an issue, especially neural networks algorithm. Especially those who are working with the technique involving based on multi-layer perceptron type of neural network. Okay. Now, however, though, there are applications that require system with no black box. Right? There are applications that doesn't care whether it's a black box or not. Depends. So it doesn't mean that the black box is an issue, therefore we cannot use neural network. No, that's not necessary. There are applications that can accept whether it's a black box or not, as long as the algorithm is effective. That's it. Now let's take a look at some of the application. But here the application that cannot have an algorithm with a black box issue. For example, medical applications, where the algorithm can explain why the output is given from the input. For example, like medical application, we talk about human life here. Therefore, we cannot have level uncertainty, because the word black box means uncertainty, right? So we cannot have that in medical application because we talk about life, human life here. Or in military application. However, though, military application, we can still argue some military application, they don't care. For example, as far as I can remember, my they are, of course, they are using in the early versions of controlling the F-22 Raptor maneuver. So they use some sort of ENN algorithm. That is I can confirm to you. But which algorithm I don't know actually. Alright. But they still can use. But some military application, they are restricted and must the engineer can explain why the algorithm react on such behavior. Or perhaps in business application, the CEO perhaps need to know why, we predict such market. Why? You need to explain. We cannot just, the system can predict this is high, this is low. Why? Provide the explanations, right? All right. But, okay. So that's one issue. Huh? I have 10 more minutes. I've tried also to take a look at some of the commercialized issues, not issue, right? Aspect of AI. Right? So first, I'd like to go for top companies that employ AI. Of course, the Amazon, right? Alexa, if you maybe know, there's a tools that speakers who well know worldwide, but I don't know. Recently, I heard that this product has gone down, this Alexa, but it employs the AI, which is language assistant. And then we have another Amazon Web Services, AWS, right? And of course, actually there are many companies employ AI, but I try to grab some of the big companies here, right? Of course, Apple use a lot of AI in its phone and hardware that they are selling around the world. And if you know about Siri, which is company is a tool for Mac OS and iOS developers, right? That inside of it there are AI algorithms that we can use. Right? And Banjo was funded for right? Now this Banjo is actually for the government. This company only focus on the government sector. So use AI to search a social media, right? To monitor for the prospect terrorists at that time, right? And then DJI, maybe some of you have drone in your house, developed by DJI. Right? We know that 70% of the global drone market is controlled by the DJI, and most of it is quite expensive. And inside of it, for example, the AI and image recognition to one object and many things. And Facebook, all people here perhaps have the Facebook account. For example, Facebook AI research group known as FAIR says it's committed to advancing the field of machine intelligence and developing new technologies. Right. And of course, the big company of Google. Most of the time we use it to Google something, isn't it? Right. The largest, most important AI company in the world. But this is not quite famous actually. But the Google, they have their own machine system, which is known as TensorFlow, which now open source free for all. Even they create their chips, the Tensor AI chip or project for machine learning on the devices. But it's not quite famous here in Southeast Asian region. But it's okay. So that's some of the company. And there's also Intel. I like a few couple minutes. Even Watson, IBM create for Watson. And the Chinese company Huawei also employ AI technology very heavily. So there's some company. Right. In terms of commercialization, what my point of view is we need to think about what AI skill that the people need to have, what kind of problem that they can use. Now, even though in Southeast Asia, for example, actually, if you want to make like one big huge company like Apple or Facebook or even Microsoft, it's quite tough. So normally what we did is we make a module for the AI and then we sell it based on the module, and then we sell it to the company. That's what we did, isn't it? Instead of creating the whole company, we can create a module, for example. If you have an algorithm, you make a small module. Module means a set of code, and then you sell it to the huge company. That's what we did. Practically, with the Asian, Southeast Asian region, normally what we did. We are not developing the whole because of our market situation.
Coba lihat Prof Mahyudin dah masuk nggak?
And then create company to sell module to them. Yes. Time is up?
No, sir. Still have 10 or 15 minutes left.
10 minutes left? Okay. Okay, I understand.
10 to 10 minutes left.
10 minutes left. Okay. So again, for me though, of course, because I'm from the academic world, so I always use researcher not necessarily have to be a business or entrepreneur minded. That's what I was thinking. Now, because for example, back then in 1960 something, when people, for example, create this, when NASA, United States, create the programs Apollo, for example. Now, the rocket itself, to control the rocket, they employ not less than 10,000 programmers at a time. Now, these 10,000 programmers, they are researchers, but they are not entrepreneurs. What I try to highlight here means that if you talk about like Bill Gates or John Bezos or the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, for example, they are one in a million or billion maybe. We cannot get that kind of people too often. That's why I come about that researcher not necessarily to have a business mind. That's why sometimes I didn't agree if the government give us if the government give a grant or research grant, for instance, they expect some kind of back in terms of money, which is wrong. If you take a look at the Western country, I use the word Western country, United States or other Europe country, the government has spent billions and billions of money for the research grant purposes. I'm not talking million, billion. And yet, there is no such, they don't measure that directly, what is the commercialized value or output that they can get. Suppose it's not the main issue, although maybe some of you not agree, but I'm talking based on the fact what happened in the Western world. The government doesn't necessarily say, oh, how much do you get for commercialization? No, they will not. As long as the knowledge is created and more people is involved, that is the main idea. For instance, the particle collisions, the dealer in Europe, for example, how many billion was put to the whole project, and yet how many billions come in terms of commercialization? No, at this time around, and yet they still pouring more money to that project. That's what I mean. But okay, if you're doing research because it's a commercial value, it's alright. But it's not good to say. I mean, it's not totally correct if you want to say research must always relate to business or entrepreneur. I'm not that agree. But it can be, just to make sure I'm not 100% rejecting the idea to relate entrepreneurship with researcher. I'm not rejecting 100%. but most of the time it's not applicable to the researcher. That's what I mean. Now, last but not least, maybe some of the top trends in the AI, the way I perceive, it's my personal point of view, based on my readings. I divided on some 5 maybe here. I pick up some 5 top trends in the AI in general. The first one is the AI-enabled chips. Now, even though the AI-enabled chip is not new things, back then people still we still have this Pentium 1, should I say. At the time, people already talk about AI chips. But nowadays, because the power of the chip itself has become greater and greater, then people are start talking to develop AI chips again, right? And of course, in the AI used for the Internet of Things, the IoT, every day nowadays, most of the time, whether you like it or not, we use internet to do conversations, especially this COVID-19 problem here. We cannot go around too much, and so what happened? We order foods and everything using the web-based or internet type of communications. So it's very important, and when it go to process it will require a lot of AI. And of course, automated machine learning, the IR 4.0 increasing, and it also not a new thing. Automated machine learning is an old thing, but as the time goes on, the demand, especially in the private sector, is grow up. But I don't know, because this year it's quite different. Because this year we have COVID-19 and the economy, the data from the economy, it's not that. The real economy, right? I'm not talking about financial. The real economy is not that, in terms of engineering, it's not that good. But I'm not sure. Right? And of course, cloud computing, right? AI and cloud computing, nowadays people use cloud. Cloud computing is actually is an old thing, but a new terms, making a new word for it, cloud computing. And last but not least, the AI cybersecurity, because as user of internet become bigger and bigger, right? A lot of people come, new generation come in, and the cybersecurity also is concerned. And nowadays people start to embed the AI algorithm to the security algorithms, right? It can be how many layers you have it. People become smarter, and we need to create a system that's smarter than the people who want to hijack or do bad things terrible to the system, right? So I think that's all my presentations today. I hope that everyone here can get some of the ideas, some of the information that I try to share. Maybe some of you agree, maybe some not, it's okay. I think that's all. So I'm giving back the sessions to the chairperson then.
Thank you for Mr. Shaur for amazing presentations. So, ladies and gentlemen, the questions and answer sessions will be opened in the end of the after all the sessions. After all the presenters present their presentation. So you can make notes. You can type your questions on the chat, and later on the end of the session, all the presenters will answer your question. So this is the end of the presentations from Dr. Sharul. So we move to the second sessions, to the second presenters. It will be Dr. Tanawit. And Dr. Tanawit's presentation will be moderated by my partner, Miss Elsera. So this is the end of my part. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your questions. I have not some questions here. So that's all. Thank you, and let my Sarah lead the next session. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Can you hear me?
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speakers and distinguished guests, good morning. Beforehand, let me introduce myself. I am Sarah from Politeknik Cendana, Medan, one of vocational college in Medan University, North Sumatra, Indonesia. It's such a great honor to have this opportunity to be the moderator of this Ichsanda 2020, the third Ichsanda has held. On these sessions, we will have the presentations from Dr. Thanawit Bunsit, and he is having short biography. Let me explain to you in a glance. So Dr. Thanawit Bunsit, he is now positioned as the head of economic department since 2014 in Taksin University in Thailand. His latest academic qualifications in 2017 that he finished his PhD study in economics at University of Bath, United Kingdom. He has done many projects and publications in both national and international scope, and we do believe he is still working on more as his dedications to the state. He also has been invited as selected presenter and guest lecturer and also keynote speaker in many occasions, sharing his experience and knowledges since 2008 worldwide from the continent of Asia, Europe, and Australia. Today, he will present the topic of digital society for economic and social development in Thailand. Let me repeat once again the topic, digital society for economic and social development in Thailand. Without further ado, let's welcome our honorable guest speaker for this session, Dr. Thanawit Bunsit, to deliver his presentation. Dr. Thanawit Bunsit, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I share the screen now. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me to join this conference. I'm very glad to be here. It's a shame. I would like to be in Medan, but it's impossible at the moment because of the COVID-19. Okay. Thank you very much, the committee, and thank you everyone to join this session. Okay, so my presentation is, can you see my PowerPoint? Is it okay? The voice is clear? Okay, good. So, my topic is digital society for economic and social development in Thailand. I'm not sure how many of you have been to Thailand. Do you know Thailand?
Yes, sure.
Okay, I think most of you have been to Thailand, to maybe the south of Thailand or in Bangkok. So nowadays in Thailand, we are trying to move on to digital society. And now at the moment, we have a new Ministry of Digital Society for Economic and Social Development. Okay, let's start with, I want to start with this quote. That is, 90% of CEOs believe the digital economy will impact their industry. Less than 15% are executing on a digital strategy. So you can see that everybody knows that digital is very important, digital economy is important, but very few people that think about implement or executing on digital strategy, how we can do it, how we can manage it. You can see that COVID is a good test for our how we use digital society. Because, for example, at the university or at the school, when we have about 69 point, now is increasing a little bit in 2020, about 69 point, almost 7 million. And 52% of people live in the city, in big city like Bangkok or other big city in the north and in the south like Phuket or Chiang Mai. And can you believe it? It's 55 million people have using mobile users, and everybody have to register for it, so we can have their database on how people use their mobile. And the internet user, 57 million of people using internet, and out of that, 51 million using social media, for example, Facebook or Twitter or Line. So you can see that we are a big group of people using social media, using internet in Thailand. So digital society is not really far from Thailand. We are now in digital society already. So before we moving to digital society, in the past, we are not really, Thailand, we are based on agriculture. So we are moving we call it now it's a government model for economic development. So we move from Thailand 1.0 to Thailand 4.0. Have you heard about this? I'm not sure you hear about this plan, but this is our government plan to develop our country. So the Thailand 4.0, we call it, the plan is for prosperity, security, and sustainability. So let's move back to Thailand 1.0. What is it? So 1.0, we based on agriculture. So we produce lots of agricultural products and we export lots of products to many countries around the world. And then we move on to the next step is Thailand 2.0. So this step, we try to improve our economy using light industry, for example, textile industry. We are good at this industry and we export a lot of products as well to replace the loss of agricultural products. We try to increase our income of the country. And then we move to the next step, to Thailand 3.0, to heavy industry. And this level, this step, we increase our country, we develop our country, our economy into the middle income, but we cannot move forward to the next level. We get trapped to the middle income trap, and lots of problems happen during this step. Lots of inequality, lots of imbalance, lots of disparity between people of country. So now the government have a new plan to put on the digital society into this Thailand 4.0. Thailand 4.0 is focused on creativity, innovative or value-added, value-based industry. So it's really important for our society to learn, to know, to improve our digital technology to match to the government model. So in this plan for the Thailand 4.0, the main five main industries for this, the first one is food, agriculture, and biotechnology. So this one is very important because we are based on agriculture, but we try to improve the productivity of our crop productions. For example, the lots of crops, lots of rice, palm, and lots of agricultural products we have already, but we want to increase the productivity and the effectiveness of production. The second industry is health and wellness and biomedicine. So this one is another important main industry that the government plan to focus on, and we plan to be the hub of the medicine, the medical hub of Southeast Asia. And the third one is the digital Internet of Things and embedded technology. So this one is very important as well in the future, at the moment and in the future. And during COVID-19 as well, we use a lot of digital technology to solve the problem. And the fourth one is smart devices, robotics, and mechatronics. And this one is very important for our lots of production, lots of every industry. We use lots of robotics.
Sertifikat
We try
presenter
to
yang buat nanti
train
terakhir
lots of
siapa? Kasih
our
template-nya
people
atau gimana?
to be can be used smart devices, and robotics and mechatronics.
Udah.
Lots of university now have courses on mechatronics.
Kemarin kan aku minta Excel.
And
Ada yang huruf besar
the
semuanya.
last one is creative culture and
Makanya
high
itu
value
suruh jadian atau kayak mana?
services. So this one is
berarti biar kami aja lah ya.
our main income as well for Thailand. You know that Thailand we have lots of tourists visiting Thailand every year, and so we got lots of income from our tourism, from our creative and culture, lots of homestay tourism, eco-tourism. So now we try to use this and using
List terakhir
digital
nggak ada. Ini
society
54 ini kalau nggak
help
salah.
enhance this
Maksudnya ini
sector
loh,
as well.
presenter ini, nah ini ada huruf besar
Any
ini.
questions so far?
Nanti ada huruf kecil.
Everybody
Aku nanti
is
nggak tahu
okay?
huruf besar yang huruf kecilnya yang mana gitu.
Oke, karena saya.
Nah, paling nanti aku buat aja title.
Okay, so I just
Ada yang
want
singkatan, ya kan?
to go to
Ah,
COVID-19
gini.
a little bit. I want to show you some what happened in Thailand. You know, in Thailand now we can.
Kalau apa kan
at
keyword
least we are
gampang dia. Cuma
quite good in control the COVID-19 in Thailand. But during the last couple of months, we are
Excelnya aja Pak.
completely in digital society. The first thing is online classroom, especially primary school, high school.
Ini sampai 54 aja ya Rob ya.
We use online classroom
Yang terakhir
already
di upload situ.
during the last 2 months. So this is I think it's very useful that we can use digital technology to help our education. So students they can continue their study during even they can stay at home. And the second one is the work from home online meeting conference that we are doing now. So this I think you can use in every country, in Indonesia as well, in Thailand. But in Thailand, during a couple of months, I did 2 conferences already in Thailand. And we used the online conference using Zoom, and some conferences using WebEx, some conferences using Microsoft Teams. So it depends on the conference. Very useful when it works. And the third one is during COVID-19 in Thailand is another thing that we can control and monitor what's going on during COVID-19 is customer database and tracking system. We call it Thai Chana application. Chana in Thai means win. So we said that we're gonna win against COVID-19. So this application can track all the customer whatever you go. So the customer every time you want to enter the restaurant or any shopping mall or any place, so people have to scan the barcode and to check in before they getting in the place and then check out. before they get out of the restaurant or any place in the whole country doing this. So we can track that if someone get infected, so we can get that where did they go and how many people went there at that time, so we can track and control people very effective. This is very effective application in use, and now it's continue using now. And at the moment, even we go to the temple, to the mosque, or to different places in Thailand, we have to use this system,
Dia live
international
semuanya berdua,
application,
cuma putus nyambung masuk,
and
putus
keep
nyambung kayak gini.
database of customer
Orang pakai
people
mod hotspot.
moving around. The last, another one is contactless payment. So this, I think you are used to this as well, but during this COVID-19, we using this digital technology even more, and we use all for shopping because lots of people during, for example, in March, in April, people are very scared using the banknotes, so they really don't want to touch the notes because the note can have some infected of the COVID coronavirus. So we use the credit card or the mobile phone and use contactless system for the payment. So this is very useful, and this one can be continue using after COVID as well.
Where? The group.
The important one, this one, is very important online. It's online shopping and food delivery. So if you come to Thailand, maybe later or maybe now, I'm not sure it's difficult now, but later, you will see. Sorry, can you? Okay, so you can see the online shopping and food everywhere in Thailand. The most common one is Food Panda. So when people want to order food online, so normally Food Panda is number one, and the Grab Food or other company. But the Food Panda is the fast-growing company in Thailand now. They have lots of customers at the moment. Another one is the telemed or telemedicine. So because you cannot go to everybody maybe cannot go to hospital at the moment, not all can have a chance to go, and the doctor is very busy with the COVID-19. So lots of patients, they can do the tele communication to the doctor and can talk and get consult with their doctors via telemedicine system in Thailand. So now the government invests lots of money for this, and the Ministry of Health will continue using this. Even we don't have COVID, we continue using this, so it can help people can access healthcare wherever they are. They can be in a very remote area. Okay, so the Ministry of Digital Economy and Society is a new ministry, and this one is we set this ministry for to support, to encourage, and to push digital society to help develop our economy and our society. And this ministry set the fund, we call Fund for Digital Economy and Society. This fund is for two objectives. The first one is to support and encourage government agencies, private organizations, or individuals to develop digital technology to improve our socio-economic development. The second one is funding for research and development. So all organization, private or government or researcher, anyone can apply for funding to develop the digital technology. So this ministry is work so hard now to try to push, to transform our country to be our society. Okay, the purpose of our digital society of the ministry try to focus on four main objectives. The First one is to increase the competitiveness to other countries. So we want to increase the competitiveness of our SMEs of businesses in the country. Second one is they aim for the social equality. So everybody in Thailand, even they are in rural area, they are poor or they are in very remote area, they can access to digital technology and they can access to database, they access to information, knowledge, and any healthcare, any access to all facility the government will provide all facility to the people and personal development. So everybody, even they live in a you try people, the minorities people, the poor people, they can develop themselves, they can learn e-learning from digital development. And the last one is the governance revolution. So this ministry, they aim to reform the government process, the operation, give the service to people. Okay, to do that, there are 6 strategies for in Thailand. So this is a very good strategy. The first one is the digital infrastructure development. So nowadays, this Ministry of Digital for Economy and Society, they try to want to make sure that every part in Thailand, all 77 provinces in Thailand have infrastructure and very ready to be implemented all digital policy. Efficiency and outreach to all provinces, all area in Thailand, even in rural, in little village. And the second strategy is to drive economy using digital technology. So using digital technology, the government try to support and encourage SMEs in, for example, the OTOP or one tambon, one product, or one tambon is mean district. So sub-district, one sub-district, one product. So the government try to all the small village to produce their own products and then try to help them to do e-marketing, to put digital marketing for them. The community enterprises, so when lots of villages together, they can make a community enterprises and create economic impact on the village level. And the digital startups. The digital startups are very important in Thailand now. It's quite booming now, and there are 3 startups that is very successful. The first one is e-logistics. You know that during even before COVID as well, e-logistics is quite popular now and very growing so fast. But during COVID, it's going even faster. Why? E-logistics in Thailand is very growing very fast. The first one is because in Thailand now we have a lot of shopping, online shoppers. About 11 million people are online shoppers in Thailand, so it's a big market. And we have new online SMEs, at least 15,000 online SMEs during this couple of years. And then another last thing is Thai people, about 65% of online shoppers, they prefer cash on delivery. So they like to buy things online and then they can pay cash when they pick up their product. So this is the first startup that is very successful. Second one is e-commerce and fintech. So lots of lots of fintech company, lots of fintech startups, e-commerce startups happen during this COVID-19. For example, if you go to Bangkok, you go to SkyTrain, you go to underground, the metro, you will see rabbit card, and you can use you don't have to pay by cash, and you can use a card. You put money linked to your bank account, and you can get in and out the mass transportation very easily. Also, company is successful now doing e-commerce and fintech, like to see transaction, everything is very easy now. And the last one is search engine. This one is very popular. If you, maybe some of you know about this. If you come to Thailand and you want to order food, Thai people, we like eating, we have lots of delicious food. Thai food, right? What tom yum? Okay, spicy salad, we have spicy food, lots of seafood. So you go to Wong Nai. If you come to Thailand, you search Wong Nai. So it's very useful search engine. So this one, you can order food, you can find what kind of food that you want to eat and where to go, and you can deliver as well. So this one is a example of good startups in Thailand. Third strategy is preparing learning society using digital technology. So we want everybody to be the digital technology to be accessibility. Everybody can access, and also we want people to aware, to be conscious when they use technology. During COVID-19, lots of scam, lots of people try to uh, make a fake website, fake apps to get money from people. So we want people to know, to learn about this, how to use digital technology safely, and to be more creative, to be more responsible users. So this one we want to give more training, more information for people in Thailand to be a responsible user. And strategy 4 is about the digital governance. So the government uh, have to be transparency. For example, during this COVID-19, the government have the policy to compensate some uh, money, some subsidy to the businesses and people who have got the impact from COVID-19. So we have lots of apps. The government had the application for people to apply, register, and then get money direct to their account. So the government had to be transparent for this, and lots of policy after this to give money to the farmers, to provide some money for even more for to students, some loans to the new companies, new startups. So it's a big budget of the government. It's a million baht. So we have to be set the digital governance very transparent, effective service, and open. The data is have to be open to everyone. So when we open the data to everyone, it's very transparent, and people can participate, can monitor the what happened, the budget that the government use. So this strategy is very useful and very uh, important for this at the moment in this society. And number 5, manpower development for digital economy and society. So we still need more uh, knowledge about digital technology. We need to train our people to have knowledge, to have skills, specialization in this field, because we don't have enough of people that knows about this uh, in details in all dimensions, all sectors. So we need more innovation. We need more new businesses to increase our GDP, our income. And the last one is we need to build confidence of people, of company, of businesses, of all sectors using digital technology. So we need, now we try to endorse a new digital law. We try to do the standardization, lots of security is going on. So I hope that the law, the digital law is going to be complete soon. So we can use this to make sure that it's safe for everyone to be in digital society, because lots of people in, for example, in the old generation in rural areas, they don't want to use, they don't want to be in digital society. They prefer in the conservative way of doing things. So we want to make sure that it's safe, is we have protection for them. And finally, the government try to push all the businesses or the in academia or in practical practitioners to be going to the direction of digitality or digitality. So this one is we want to make sure that everybody, all businesses, all um, new company can use digital wisely, effectively, and they can transform their business, their company to use digital wisely, not just fashionista or not just use digital to be just follow the trends or just follow other people, or we don't want people to be just conservative. It's too late. It's very important. It's not, we cannot be conservative anymore. We cannot use the simple method of payment. We cannot stick to that anymore. We have to move on to the world and the digital economy. We have to move on the digital society. Why? Because from the research of in MIT, we found that if all the businesses move to uh, elite digital society, so we can increase the profitability about 26%. So it's a lot of increase for the whole company, and then the market valuation can be increased 12%. This is from all the research of the MIT. So I think it's the government, our government want to make sure that our plan, the sixth strategy, will become implement and people can follow that. What's next? So next, I think the digital society is our new normal. So next month, our university will be opened, and then lots of university have to do online classroom, and we have to do lots of online thing, lots of digital work. So digital society is not old anymore. It's not um, something that is strange. It's going to be our new normal. And the digital is embedded in our social and economic activities. For example, we have a meeting online, we have a conference online, we have the farming, digital farming. So digital farming, the government in Thailand spend a lot of money, invest lots of money for digital farming as well. So you can use digital technology to increase the productivity of agriculture. And the last one is digital transformation is essential. In many countries, digital transformation is happening already in Europe, in America, is happened last 2 years ago, but in Thailand, it's still slow now. So we have to make sure that we can transform all the business and the society to be digital, uh, bit by bit, little bit, and until everybody can use digital for their economic activities, for their social life. So, okay, thank you very much. I hope you get something, and let's discuss later.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Tanamit Bunsit, for informative and interesting talk about how Thailand developed but the social digital society. Then let me summarize a little bit before we go to the next session, and remind all participants once again that questions is open in the room chat, and also you can ask directly later on question and answer section. So a short summarize what I can get is Dr. Tarawih Bunsit, you make me recall of the true taste of tom yum, and I miss it a lot. I guess everyone feel the same on how Thailand tom yum real taste is about. Okay, so what I can get is digital transformations is essential. Everyone we acknowledge and we consciously apply digital society nowadays, especially in Thailand. They are now entering the industry revolutions of 4.0, which is innovative and value-based industry, which is apply transparency, effectiveness, public data, participation, innovations in technology, and almost all aspects. So hopefully everyone do learn a lot about what Dr. Tanamet Bunsit has presented just now. Then we are proceeding to the next session. The third sessions of today's will be led by our moderator, Miss Wardayani. So we will just welcome Miss Wardayani to moderate the next session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Today I am as a moderator. My name is Wardayani. Nggak dengar juga?
Nggak bagus.
Hah? Suaranya udah besar loh. Oh, oke. Today I am as a moderator. My name is Wardayani. Sudah? Belum. I am from Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Manajemen Sukma Medan. Our next speaker in international conference today is Professor Mahyudin Nasution. Now, Professor Mahyudin is the Vice Rector for Research, Community Service, and Cooperation, University of Sumatera Utara. The topic from Prof. Mahyudin is data science, and then we invite Prof. Mahyudin to start. To Prof. Mahyudin, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Peace for us all. I talk about the data science. Maybe my impression I will submit this event.
Prof. Mahyudin.
Okay.
You can share your presentation, sir.
Okay. I will submit the presentation to the layout.
Prof. Mahyudin, you have problem?
Yes. Okay. I have problem in my computer. Sorry about this.
for the audience. Please the moment. Please this moment. Okay, Prof.
Okay.
Okay, please.
Uh, Thank you. I will start by my presentation about that data science. We know this problem about the many issue about the data science today. Uh, some problem is by many label is about not about straightforward and able to work with big data. You know, data scientist is job sexy about now today. Uh, it is the prediction by the Harvard Business Review, and then now is we have a problem about the infrastructure, learning, and curricula and syllabi about the data mining in undergraduate, postgraduate. We have some problem this about the concept the data meaning is not finished talking about them. Now, we have the growth document about data science in the one one the database reputable database Scopus in the five five the 5 years latest we have the exponential the growth document. Uh, this is the meaning. This is main that many discussion about the data meaning is not conflict about the many field supporting the data science. Definition the data science we have not conflict about until now. We have one of them because the data science is not yet have definition to express is the established science. Data science involving file existing definition reflects this uncertainty with overload time inconsistency. And then uh, data science is relative new field which has considerable attention in generation years, and then new field and wide range knowledge requires skill from the different discipline uh, about mathematics, statistics, computer science, and information science. And then uh, mathematics as a basic of science, we have the problem support the mathematics for data science. We have the three adjective from mathematics. One, the problem is the issue of the convergence, uh, where the issue how to reduce of the dimension to small dimension, and divergence. One issue, another is divergent in mathematics is the many of the function and the transformation of the small dimension to large the dimension. Therefore, the mathematics is basis of every data science. Even though data science is not not uh, part of the mathematics because the purpose of the data science is to overcome the cost of the dimension. The problem, the issue, big issue, this mathematics is how to reduce how to the uh, solution about the first of that mentioned. Many terminology about the data science is the first terminology is about the statistic, and then some terminology, some research uh, say data science is datalogy. Uh, we have this the statistic in the mathematics, why the mathematics is the basis of science. Statistic is the always the model about the convergence. We have now set data, set of data, and will transfer into the value in uh, 0 and 1 in range. And then this is the probability definition about the statistic. Of course, we have the problem. The statistic is only about the data full era, not big data in now. Therefore, we have a statistic in many problem to transform big data to knowledge. In one side, statistician are finding the place in the emerging field of data science. Many issues consider new in data science have long histories in statistics. But data management, learning, and data visualization are not part of statistics. Anyway, uncertainty is not probability only, but the Fuzzy set and rock set. Okay, we have now about the computer science. The computer science using many function problem in programming and the algorithm is divergent issue. Example, we have the one set data D array in computer programming. This is the main because of the mathematic dimension drive the complexity of the programming. Data science in inherent interdisciplinary field and not exclusively a computer science. This is the conclusion about the data science and computer science because it now many challenge for data science mainly complexity and spatial and temporal reasoning and about the managing uncertainty. Okay, we next. Data science is science extraction meaning from the potential complex data. This is conclusion about the many about the document in the database index database. Data science is field which multidisciplinary blend and of data inference, algorithm development, and technology combined in order to solve analytically complex problem. However, many definition and many the syllabi and curriculum is the focus more the abstract processes and pipelines and workflow and less and how data science work engage with the data. So in many fields, consider the data science as the tools. We have the concept of the data science in use. They are using data science is having profound impact of the number of areas, including commerce, health, and smart city. We have now we know about the data science uh, is this time of data science 1983 is data science the document in health researchers. And then data science uh, about the not part of the statistic. For we have the data science is mandatory in the today's business to capitalize and achievement and asset. This is the tool. Data science is a tool. Is technology. Data science is technology, not science. Poor science. We have the example about the how to get the problem existence data science. We know every object in universe has more than one feature and more than many features in the object. In information line like internet and web, many features for any object. We have to create extraction from the internet and the web using some method. We have P2 and their measurement. It is a criteria about the object. Many feature, so it will be multi-criteria. And then the R variable with X criteria becomes a variable. Symbolic in the mathematics. We had x1, x2, x3, and xn. So, and now we have the many problem in the object about the data science is data, large data and big data is multi-object. Each object has different interests by different parties. Each interest of the stakeholder is present in the form of the function. We have the model of the mathematics. We have the one x1, x2, and xn. This is the model of the objective, uh, and then goal is the max or mean of the model. Function is we have the considered is as the function as the operator. We have the operator, the binary operator, and and other. Let's f the operator is a linear function. The RSO the also a constant ABC comparison as the comparison value for the x variable the order. Explicitly, we have the model linear fx x1 x2 xt. We have the x1 x2 then this is the and then we have the new subject about the we use in the data science for one subject. The all definition is the optimization and maybe linear programming and integer programming. We have the MODA is a precision multi-objective criteria and decision analysis. It's the subject, new subject based on multi-object and multi-criteria. We have the model min or max one function, one objective function. Max or min one objective or objective another. This is with the content many line and many criteria is the from the multi criteria we have done. This is the issue about data. Now we have the data dimension is a problem. Many problem in the data. We have the prediction historical data and data qualitative and quantitative. We have the data internal, external in the organization. We have the trend about the data. And then some this is all the issue about data is internal in data, but from the external we have the all issue about the human see about data, and then we have the human using some tool to extraction maybe for example and some activities in about the data many tool using them use them now we we have the how to drive the methodology to to get the knowledge from the data. Itu is the many issues about the okay. Last about the session is science data requires new subject or subject that redefined according to required expertise. Okay, thank you for your attention. Thank you for the committee invite me for this conference, and thank you for the moderator to for the this session. Thank you for all.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Mahyudin, for your presentation. For the audience who want to ask question, you can ask by two ways. The first, you can type on chat, and the second, you directly raise your hand in the end of the presentation. The next, we can give to Mr. Benni.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, keynote speakers all has done their presentations. Now we are proceeding to questions and answer session. So for first session, we will lock three questions firstly to be answered. One questions for each speaker. Now on my list, I have already got one questions for Dr. Tanawit Bunsit. Okay, so the questions is from Mr. or Mrs. Sugeng. The questions is, tourism is the most important sector in Thailand. Could you please tell us in detail how does Thailand overcome the impact of COVID-19 on its tourism industry? So these questions refer to Dr. Tanawit Bunsit. The question is, tourism is the most important sector in Thailand. Could you please tell us in detail how does Thailand overcome the impact of COVID-19 on its tourism industry? Please, Doctor, for the answer.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Okay, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes, it's clear.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, Doctor, you can please
Okay.
give the answer.
Thank you for the question. Tourism is very important for Thailand. You know, we got lots of income from tourism. We have lots of many beautiful places in Thailand. The COVID have a lot of impact on our tourism sector. So at the beginning in March, April, since March, the end of March and April, we have to close all the hotels and tourism industry have to be closed down, and the government have lots of method to help the industry. So, for example, the government have a subsidy, the compensation for the owners, the entrepreneur, tourism entrepreneurs. So uh, so the government help that. For example, for the individuals, the government give 5,000 baht, 5,000 baht per month per person. And the next step is the government. Now at the moment, the government have another scheme. The second scheme is to give the subsidy, give some money for people to travel in domestic travel. So the people can apply for this money and they can get this money and they can spend in the whole country. So this can help the tourism business to come back. And there is lots of scheme. For example, the 40% discount for the airplane and for the some price reduction for the hotel, for the food industry. So this can help in the domestic tourism. And now we are open, totally almost 100% open. So now people traveling around in Thailand, in Bangkok, in traveling around already. And I think next week, for example, on the metro, people can sit next to each other already in in the sky train. And for international tourism, we're gonna do the scheme called, if you heard about tourism bubble. The tourism bubble is, so the tourism bubble, this idea is we have to set the destination, the country that tourists can travel between two countries. We have to set one by one. For example, Macau, Hong Kong, um, Myanmar, Vietnam, the country that can control the COVID infected people already, so we can allow the move of tourists between two countries. So this will happen soon. So after this, the government have other uh, schemes to help the hotels as well. For example, uh, hotel, some hotels, the government use the hotel to be the place for quarantine, state quarantine. So the government pay for that hotels, and then the hotel get the money from the government, from the uh, use that for quarantine. And there are more and more scheme from the government. So you can see that since the COVID happened in the early this year, the government has the step of helping one by one. But it's not really, it's a little bit not fast enough, because this is quite new. COVID, this is very big event, big job. So the government has to make it faster, make it help all the entrepreneurs. Okay, so I hope everything come back to normal soon in Indonesia as well. I hope everything is coming back, so we can travel between Thailand and Indonesia. Okay, thank you. I hope it helps. Any more questions or any comments or discussion?
All right, thank you, Dr. Tanamit Bunsit, for the answer. Hopefully the answer is good enough for the one who asked. Okay, now we have one questions already for Mr. Tanamit Bunsit, but we will drop questions first for another speaker. So from the questions of Mr. Tanamit Bunsit will be for the next session. We will give opportunity to another questions for another two guest speaker firstly. So audience, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions for Professor Mahyudin and also Professor Dr. Shahrul? Please drop us your questions, or you can wave or give us signal so we can you can ask directly live to the keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Anyone? Ladies and gentlemen, any questions?
Di forum chat itu ada lihat. Oke, sebentar ya.
Maybe I have give the information about the data science, little information. Universitas Sumatera Utara collaboration with the ITP, ITP the Thailand and ITB Indonesia, Netherlands University, and Athens University has conducted the survey of the only 50% of the higher education alumni who can work using big data. This is the problem, main problem about the now, mainly during and COVID-19. This information to maybe we think together now. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mahyudin, for the information.
Shahrul.
Okay.
So there is a question for Dr. Shahrul. It's a private chat from someone, Tengku Muhammad Diansyah. So their question is, as the massive development of the technology, it's predicted that in the future, there are some jobs or occupations that will be disappeared. Some jobs of human will be changed by robot. Natural resources will be totally explored. All work and skill orientations are being changed into artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, not all the human resources are ready for the situations. This development also really changed the culture of the human that live moral values. So, which one should we follow? Following the development of the technology, but how do we solve the problem when we face that, when we know that there are some, or there are thousands or millions villages are not ready yet for the development of the technology? Please, Dr. Shahrul.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Let me answer the question in two folds. Now, the first fold, they asked either when AI development is increased, therefore human working opportunity for the human is decreased. Now, yeah, I do agree on that. That statement is that when the applications of AI it's more developed, therefore there's some workforce will be reduced. For instance, even in my university, what happened is that we developed a lot of system. Therefore, the number of people working the administrations is reduced. However, though, because of this kind of development, yes, there will be some area will be decreased in terms of workforce. But what happened is that we increase the development requirements of people needed in other fields. For example, the one who capable of writing the codes and known the AI. So it's not necessary by developing by having a lot of improvement in AI, requirement of the AI, we don't have a lot of work, not necessarily, because some area the workforce will be increased. As I say, we need more scientists on working in this area, or more programmer to do the system. So but I don't think like millions of people will be lost their job. Yes, at the moment, when it's happened at the beginning, yes, there will be people who lost their job. But human, as a history track shown us, that we tend to be more, what I call, more creative when have an issue. There are other fields that also can be built up. So it's not necessarily a bad thing when the AI improve a lot of requirement job for AI, but it's also opportunity. So that's one answer. By the way, I read some my private, uh, some people ask me how to measure the contributions or innovation, research contribution or innovation. Measurements of the research contribution is for me, uh, of course, it's when the research is being used in daily life. That is the main contribution. But however, though, because of the levels of technology involved, especially in AI, sometimes it's not ready yet for the ordinary people. So most of it goes to the military application rather than the civilian applications, right? So if you want to ask me whether how to measure the research contribution or innovation, I believe it can be applied to human, rather the civil applications or the military applications. I think I give the answer. Thank you.
Tunggu. Siapa? Sarah. Tunggu.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Professor Shahrul, for the answer. Now, that's the first round of the questions and answer. Now we go to second round. We will have another questions for every keynote speaker. For the first questions, refer to Dr. Tanawit Bunsit. So these questions will be given by Ms. Juliana. She would like to ask directly to Doctor, sorry. So for the time, please. Ms. Juliana.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tanawit, I have one question for you because I'm involving in one higher education in Medan. So I just would like to listen. Would you please share your experience about how to motivate the lecturer in the university, especially in Thailand University that you are currently involving now, about how to motivate them to enhance the learning society by using digital technology? Because Medan, as far as I know, is not as advanced as Thailand. So would you please share from your perspective from the sites of Thailand University itself? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will share my experience at my university in Songkhla, in the south of Thailand. We are the small university. We are public university, and we have all equipments, all digital technology provide to lecturer, and all lecturer have access to the training, the facility to provide and to create the online digital classroom. And we did this the last 5 years, and we it failed, not success. All lecturers is against the digital classroom, against all the online activities or all the techniques or anything. But COVID is a good thing. This is a good benefit of COVID because now is we have no choice. We have to use online. We have to use technology to help to continue our class. So what our university do is we have training, like a compulsory training for all faculty. So everybody have to go to training and learn how to use application, how to create new application, how to create tools, the media for classroom media or anything. So finally, when everybody use it, and we set the group on Facebook, on Line, you know Line, right? Similar to WhatsApp, but in Thailand it's popular, our Line application. So all the lecturers have to put their work on Facebook or show to their peers, their colleagues. This motivate each other to use new techniques, new application. For example, Superchief or Kahoot, if you know, they can make on the mobile phone to make some games, some questions, and link to and send to students. So I think it's a good idea that university level have to set the training for all lecturers. The second is you set the group, and everybody have to put your material, your ideas, your innovation to motivate each others or the lecturers. I think this.
All
And
right.
good luck for the using digital classroom.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Thanawit Bungsit, for the answer and also sharing the strategy on how Taksin University is doing so far. For the next questions will be questions for
Ya,
Dr.
kenapa?
So there is another questions for Dr. Sepiaail. It's from Solihatul Hamidah. This is a simple question. What will you suggest to decrease the number of cyber victims? Because by the advance of technology, there are so many data robbing, sexual harassment, and so on. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Okay, the question is from Solihatul Hamidah. What will you suggest to decrease the number of cyber victims? Because by the advance of technology, there are so many data robbing, sexual harassment, and so on.
Okay, all right. Well, that's even though it's a simple questions, but it's actually there's so many ways to answer that question. But I try to make it short, right? Data robbing and stealing, that's one issue, and what I call bullying is another issue actually. For the data robbing, that's why whatever mechanism or software that we use during the online, we as a user need to make sure we knew actually what's going to happen. I mean, we need to choose properly. And you don't put some very sensitive data online. Make sure that the platform is quite secure. But of course, some of the user they tend to forget the importance of this thing. They publish some very sensitive data, the ID number and everything. So you need to be careful in terms of the behavior. I mean, what I'm saying here is be careful on the behavior of as a user. But as a developer, that's another story. As a system developer, there's a lot of mechanism we can use to improve the system security, and that's another point. So that would be the first answer, and the second answer is about bullying. Bullying, it's about psychology. That's what I mean. No matter what people saying about us in the website or in any platform of chatting, it's about psychology, whether we as a user can accept it or not. So actually, bullying is about bullying is about psychology, but governments who in charge of the ICT in their country perhaps can also take part of controlling the information sharing throughout the web. For example, in Malaysia, we have this rules we use. If you caught forwarding the incorrect or not correct informations, then the police can take actions to you. So to us. So I hope they answer the questions. Then. All right.
All right, thank you, Professor Shahrul, for the answer. Now we have next questions for Professor Mahyudin. This question is for Mr. Samsuryadi, Ketua LPPM Unsri. Okay, Professor Mahyudin, the question is how to measure the research contribution or innovation. The question is how to measure the research contribution or innovation. Professor Mahyudin, would you please?
Okay, this good question. Thank you for the question. Contribution about the research, how to get it. Maybe we must conduct a piece about the how to get knowledge, in the literature, to get the many issue about the subject research. Of course, we have the many issue in the subject research. Of course, the state of the art, about it. It is a key for the.
I repeat once again the questions. Will it be ecotourism or small group tourists as the coming solution? The objects of tourism destinations will be in the remote area, meaning social distancing. So this refers to all speakers. For any speaker who would like to answer, you can please. Professor Shahrul, maybe?
Maybe I can share a little bit about yes, ecotourism, small group ecotourism can be one solution for during this time to keep the social distancing. But entrepreneurs will reduce. So how we can keep the economy growing? How we can keep that? So maybe you have to increase the value added to your ecotourism. You can have some activity, some products that can increase to attract tourists, high income tourists, or attract tourists to spend more during the activity, at the destination. So maybe you have to do some creative or innovative tourism, creative tourism. Now in Thailand, we have a lot at the moment. For example, near my village there are lots of coffee shop, and they try to, and in Indonesia, in Medan, in Malaysia, you have a lot of coffee as well. So maybe you can use coffee and try to make it interesting. For example, in Thailand now we have some coffee infused with some fruits or some other new flavor. So to make it unique. So when you make it unique, so maybe people want to come more, and you have to set the target and make it. And the second one is maybe you don't but maybe mass tourism. We can, if we have the security, the safety scheme very strict, very normal. It's a new normal in the future. Maybe in the future is a big group can come to the same destination with the safety regulation, for example, with the mask, the sanitizer, all the regulation can be used. So it can be both, but it depends on we have to try to find the balance when to make it small, when you make it big. So I suggest the flexible scheme. So you have to set the entrepreneur have to set the scheme very when to be strict, when to be lenient, so it can be changed all the time. Yeah.
All right, thanks for the answer, Dr. Tanawit. That's the opinions of Dr. Tanawit. Now we may listen to Professor Mahyudin's opinion about these questions. Professor Mahyudin, please.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yes, please, Professor.
What the question?
Oh, the question is, will it be ecotourism of small group tourists as the coming solution? The objects of tourism destination will be in the remote area, meaning social distancing.
Okay, I know. Um, all country they rely on the privilege of an area for tourism experience degradation and drastic reduction in income is the problem about the tourism now in the during COVID-19. For example, we have the Lake Toba as the prime destination for world tourists. So far, there are not many visit, so it is not fell as a wall, but the, the, the area and zone about another is the problem because the gate of the tourism is cities and airport is the in the red zone about the destination of the area tourism. And then for example, we can see the Medan as tourism gate is in the red zone. It is affecting all tourism activity in other areas. And now we have the solution how to solution and get the solution about this. Maybe we have the border the area and we get the areas and in the green zone to the get at the for the get the tourism. Maybe this is the uh, uh, answer from me.
All right, thank you, Professor, for the answer. Now we would like to listen to the last for Professor Shahrul for these questions, the same questions, Professor Shahrul.
Okay. From my opinion, first of all, there are two steps need to consider before we can accept the tourism to come back in any place. The first one is that the governments need to make sure that the area must be green area, meaning that there's no infections of COVID-19 to that area. And when the area is gazetted as a green area, whereas there's no COVID-19 around, and I believe the best way is to have social distance in that particular resort, for example, or hotel. Perhaps we can start maybe 1/4 of the full size of the resort of the hotel instead of to get everyone to the area, so that it will make everyone safe. But the important thing is the government have to make sure of first, because if the infections of COVID-19 is still persist on that area, I don't think so. By having this tourism back again is a solution. It will make things worse. Will drag the time. It will impact the more prolonged compared to.
Okay, for those who have questions, you can drop us that we will refer to the keynote speaker to be answered. Our questions and answer session has been done. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end part of our presentation. Thank you for all guest speaker who has delivered the presentation. Hopefully all audience, honorable guests, and also ladies and gentlemen, all the materials has been given from the keynote speaker will be beneficial for everybody. Thank you for the attention, also the enthusiasm. And I'll see you on another occasions on conference. I will give back the control to our host of today, Mr. Benni Ichsanda. So Benni.
So ladies and gentlemen, that was all the presentation from the presenters. But before we close our conference today, I hope all of you, all the participants, tune your camera on because we are going to have the photograph together. So please, to all the audience, please tune on your camera. We will have photo session.
Pak, ini harus ambil 4 kali berarti ya? Harus ambil 4 kali berarti ya? Harus ambil 4 kali ya? Iya kan? Biar dapat semuanya. Ladies and gentlemen, please wait a moment. We are taking on the venue picture firstly.
Oh iya, berapa speed?
Dah? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please pause once again because we have 80 participants. We need to take for more than one time. Udah semua? Udah semua? Udah semua, Pak?
Belum, masih 2.
Kasih aku kalau masih 2, 3. Harus take 4 kali, Pak. 1, 2, 3 kali. Gitu. Slide-nya di next. Maaf ya, Bapak Ibu.
Dari Bapak boleh,
kita ada 4 kali ya, Pak. Nanti kita masukkan mic, habis itu bisa diganti second slide, baru tik lagi begitu. Oke. Ladies and gentlemen, please pose ya, together. 1, 2, 3. Oke, next slide dulu. Kasihan loh, Pak. Ayo, Pak. Bapak ikut. Udah ya? Yang penting udah discussion ya, Pak, sudah ya? Udah ya? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the pictures and the join us and conference today. Jempol doang. Ini apa? Okay, we are back to the conference on 12:45. Now we are having break for a moment. And ladies and gentlemen, please come back to us on 12:45 p.m. Thank you. Okay, see you all, ladies and gentlemen.
Itu Bapak bilang tadi gitu, makanya jadi Bang Dian, orang ini udah bisa close apa gimana? Nanti join lagi ya.
Kalau misalnya Bapak sering ngomong, kita jadikan format aja. Jadi Bapak punya kendali nggak Bapak? Anak Bapak ada yang ambil Bapak, misalnya contoh kita ada 3 moderator. Moderatornya juga bisa saling backup ya. Jadikan host. Jadi Bapak itu host. Kalau nunggu Bapak ini kasihan Pak ya. Iya, kasihan. Iya.
Mereka udah boleh sign out, udah boleh leave. You may leave now.
Gak ada yang pusing, masa yang pusing?
Gak jelas bacanya.
Can you hear?
Ada di belakang.
Can you hear me? Our flight from abroad to Thailand will be open again. So in September, maybe you can fly from Indonesia to Thailand. So you are welcome to Thailand, or you can visit.
Mana? Aku nggak ada.